So it's very simple, I mean, let's speak facts as they are. From Juja, BBI right now, ikienda vote, itaanguka. That's a fact. You see, it's the way it's perceived on the ground. Ukijaribu kuongea stories za BBI, basically what they are saying, vile Kangata alisema, Wegoro anasema, and many others who are quiet. Right now in Central Province, story ya BBI is a no-show. Hakuna pali inaenda, dead on arrival. So, it's good what she said. It's good advice. Make sure or try as much as possible, Mr. President, to involve everybody. Basically what she's simply saying is, can you also, since it's a handshake and BBI is supposed to unify everybody, can you get in the DP to get into the fold? Basically I think that's what she's saying. Because it's supposed to unify everybody, not some people and then others they feel they are left out. And then also there are some things, I don't want to discuss so much about BBI, but there are some things in that BBI it did not capture very well. Let me just give one example. The presidential petition, according to the Constitution, it takes what? Is it 2 weeks? For yes? To sort out the presidential petition. It only takes 2 weeks. And that's a lot of data. There's a lot that goes into it. Yet, because the Constitution says that, it has been done twice and everything was sorted out in 2 weeks. Now, in our country, the Auditor General, for many years, donkey years, has said a third of our budget is stolen. Basically, it is looted due to corrupt practices. One of the things that should be in that BBI, as far as I'm concerned, is there should have been like a time limit. Every corruption case must be dealt with maximum 3 months. And then simplify issues. How do you get money? To get money corruptly, it means you've gotten money from government you did not work for. Therefore, a simple life is its own reward. Therefore, if in Kirori's account or whoever's account it is, if money from government is found in your bank account and you did not do anything, you did not supply anything, you did not manufacture anything, you did not do any service to government, and money has found itself into your bank account, automatically you are guilty and you should be jailed. And to me, because this corruption thing has really messed the country, it should be, if you are found guilty of an economic crime, because this is an economic crime, you are jailed for 30 years without fine. Not this thing we saw some time back. I can't remember which ministry. There was some funds, some 10 billion. And they said if you are caught having tried to steal or siphon part of all or part of that money, you'll be jailed for a few months or a fine of 10,000 shillings. Somebody steals 100 million and then you tell him to pay 10,000 shillings. That doesn't make sense. In fact, you're encouraging. But if you say, if you are caught with government money in your account and you cannot account how that money reached into your bank account and it reached there and you started using it and you didn't do anything, if you're told you'll be jailed for 30 years without option of fine. Si tumeanza kudili stories za corruption. That's what memaliza. So those are some of the things I tend to think should be in that BBI document. But anyway, walisema hii sifunguliwe, sijui vile kutaenda. Wacha tuone vile kutaenda.
Ni box ya Father Christmas. Usifungue mongoja iko zawadi.
Lakini kuna kitu wa friend hapa amesema about China being a threat to the states. And also that we hope that first of all, also you also said no African president got a good deal from Trump.
Yes.
So whichever deal that they got, Trump got the better part of it.
Yes.
So you give him an A1. That's a clever guy.
Yes.
So we cannot blame him for him being bright as far as that part is concerned. No, how I look at it is this way. Let's learn from the Chinese.
Yes.
About 30 years ago, where was China? It was nowhere in the economic map. Right now, you can hardly open a magazine and not find many things about China.
That's true.
Why? Because almost everything is made in China. That did not happen by accident. It was deliberate attempts. Good policies that favored them, and now, over a number of years, they are now a force to reckon with. Likewise, for us, it's good that if we can get good deals from the states and any other countries, but I believe our first obligation is to ourselves. What is it that we have, or what is it that we can do to make sure that we get the best deal for ourselves within, before we start looking for other deals outside? And one of the issues is how do we create employment? Because that's a major problem here in the country. So that's one of the things that I think should be addressed.
All right. Coming back to MUCHENDU, Governor Antony Waiguru makes a time the other day. Niliona alikuwa sijui wapi. Amekuja akasema ya kwamba akasema the document let our people read, then we'll decide which direction to take and we do. She has made a turnaround. Another thing, kuna mtu ameniandikia hapa akaniambia pale Kiambu tulifukuza Waititu, lakini wenu ni kama anavuruta na vacuum cleaner. Nilisema Waititu alikuwa anaiba, lakini nasikia wenu anatumia pipe kubwa.
Let me first
of all, pipe 2 meters wide. What's going on in Kiambu? Mnakula sana MUCHENDU.
Wacha kwanza niseme mambo ya Waiguru. You know, Kangata told the president the truth. BBI Central Kenya. That is a fact. Mtu asikudanganya bitoko. Ikikuja saa hizi kwa vote Kiambu, it's dead on arrival. Therefore, anybody supporting BBI in Kiambu is signing a death warrant. Purely politically.
Actually, not Kiambu,
Central Kenya. If you are supporting BBI, wewe na siasa zako kaburini pop. Waititu wameona ni mtu anaitwa Waiguru wameona mwangaza. And these people, it's only that Waiguru cannot wake up one morning and join the Hasra movement. She has to actually anakuja tu pole pole. But the truth of the matter is that most of the elected leaders have put so much effort on BBI, they forgot about development. They forgot about kids are going back to school. They require bursaries. They require good classes. Most of them forgot about it and concentrated on BBI. Subsequently, the members of Central Kenya started detesting BBI. Not that because the document is as bad. It is because there are people who are putting more efforts on the document rather than the canon responsibilities they were given as elected members, turning around economy. Those are the most important things to Wanjiku. So therefore, when you come to tell Wanjiku, who has not been able to raise the school fees about BBI, anakuambia uende ukiendanga. That's the honest truth. Look at Kangata. Kangata is just a moment away from turning again as the same government. Kangata is looking to become the Murang'a governor. He has set himself on a very top position. He is now the
so kwa ground kama unataka kuwa governor lazima uende against
my friend. You have to. Yesterday there was a meeting yesterday of the Mount Kenya East governors, because it was very funny that the entire Murang'a County was missing from that meeting. The governor was missing, the senator was missing, the women rep was missing, the members of parliament were missing. They were trying to strategize on BBI. It is a clear indication, and the president, if he is true to himself, he must realize that BBI is not the way to go in Central Kenya. I want to believe that, Bitok, if you come to tell my father about BBI, my father will first of all worry about, he's a farmer, he's a daily farmer. He will worry about what is his farm going to make, what are the government policies on issues. Can you imagine that the cost of production has remained constant, but somehow the farmer has been receiving less and less, and the manufacturer is receiving threefold of what he was receiving 8 years ago. There is a very big disparity in terms of that. So therefore, it is not a surprise to me that Waiguru is on her way out of Kieleweke. If you remember, who popularized the deputy president in Kirinyaga? If you people have a memory, the deputy president in the first term, he was in and out of Kirinyaga every other day, courtesy of Waiguru bringing him there. And you know, Waiguru then was just he was a CC, she was a CC, CS, that is, of the national government. I come to Kiambu. I have seen a tweet that is a reading trend on Twitter yesterday. They were saying the Honor Bunyoro, the conman. Around somewhere last week, Bitok, somebody leaked in accounting. There is something called a management letter, where your internal auditors raises question on your spending and how you have spent the money. and then they will write that letter to the management so that they can clarify. That is before the Auditor General comes in to audit. So somebody, whether in good faith or maliciously, leaked the management letter. It is that letter is between the internal auditor and the county government. So that letter was leaked. In that letter there is quite a number of accusations on how the county government has spent the money. Now, my point is this, Bitok, and the problem I have with Kiambu County. If the executive indeed spent that money as it is being said in that management letter, they spend that money after a budget has been passed, an appropriation bill has been signed into law, and you start appropriating what has been budgeted for. So therefore, there is one group that has rigged that letter, is the County Assembly of Kiambu. If there is one group that has no moral authority to lecture people of Kiambu about corruption in the executive, it is the County Assembly of Kiambu. They passed this budget. They ensured that that appropriation bill becomes law. And if the executive is actually spending money, it is spending money in accordance with the budget, because that management letter is not saying that the executive spent money outside the budget. They are spending money in accordance to the budget that was passed by the Kiambu County Assembly. It cannot be, whether the executive has misappropriated or not, it cannot be that the Kiambu County Assembly are the people who want to stand there and tell us how evil the executive is. If indeed there is corruption in Kiambu, the County Assembly of Kiambu is in the middle of it. We have not had a county assembly in the entire republic that is corrupt like the County Assembly of Kiambu. In the first 5 months when the MCAs were actually sworn in, they were being ferried around by county executive cars because they did not have money. They have not given biodata so that they are able to get loans from the bank. So they were being ferried, courtesy of the former governor Waitito, they were being ferried by county executive cars. They knew very well there is what we call separation of power between the executive and the assembly. But somehow they were being ferried by vehicles fueled by the executive. That is one. Number two, over almost 40 MCAs in that assembly are contractors in the same government. That is the most sad thing. As an MCA, when you are elected, you have 3 canon duties that are provided for you in the Constitution. You are a representative of the people, you do oversight, and you registrate. There cannot be that you are a contractor with the same government that you are supposed to oversight. There is conflict of interest, and I hope that the relevant bodies that investigate people will investigate these MCAs. These MCAs, some of them were walking around with nothing. We can, even if you made so many allowances in the county assembly that you are paid up to 300,000 a month, there are MCAs who have moved from point A to point Z, just like Springboks, like that, and their lifestyle has just changed. Where, as you have said, can we audit these people's lifestyle? These county assembly members were being paid allowance according to that management report. Can you listen? According to that management report, one committee of agriculture was paid allowances up to 9 million shillings by the executive. There is a very clear separation of power between the executive and the county assembly. Then you have those MCAs, I hear they want to call a press conference to come and tell us how Kiambu is corrupt. Shame on you. You are the face of corruption of Kiambu. Because you people, you are the contractors in...
Are you mad that the document was leaked? Or?
No, I am actually happy that document was leaked, Bitok, so that we can fix people. Before we start interrogating that document on how executive has spent money, we must say, without fear of contradiction, that if there are people who will be relevant in the debate of corruption, is the County Assembly of Kiambu. They start with no moral authority to come and tell us how corruption has been propagated in Kiambu. Have you raised enough questions in the assembly is being your oversight role as the members of the county assembly. Hii pesa ikikuliwa, mulienda bunge kusema ilikuliwa? Did you ask the relevant question? Did you know, these people, they are coming to our all WhatsApp groups to come and rant. We did not elect them to come and rant to us. In fact, the people of Kiambu executed their mandate in the Article 1 of the Constitution, which says that the power, the sovereignty of this Constitution belongs to the people. They might exercise it directly or indirectly through the elected leaders. We elected these guys to exercise our sovereignty on our behalf. But instead of doing that, they want to come to our WhatsApp group, to our Facebook group, to our Telegram groups to come and rant. And these rants are being read by an MCA from your constituency, Juja. They will tell the MCA, the Honorable Julius Taki, who is my personal friend. I want to tell the County Assembly of Kiambu, you have failed to do your oversight duty because you are coming to rant because you want the executive to actually call you to a meeting in Naivasha and give you something. And then the Wajiko debate becomes irrelevant. We shall not allow you to become relevant in the debate of corruption in Kiambu. You have failed. You have been part and parcel of this corruption. As we interrogate how the executive has spent our money, we must say it without fear of contradiction and categorically state that the County Assembly of Kiambu do not have the mandate. They do not have the moral authority to come and lecture the people of Kiambu on how the executive has misused our money. This assembly sent Waitito home because he could not give to their demands. As much as Waitito has his issues to answer, this assembly sent him home because they did not get their hearts in the cookie jar. It's the same thing. They want to make Wanjiko a pawn in a game of chess where they throw words at each other between them and the executive because they want to get their cards in the cookie jar. We shall not allow Kiambu to go to the dogs because of this MCA. You must be so ashamed of yourself. Led by my MCA, who is the majority leader, who I would categorically say, I will never call you a majority leader again. I would rather call you the leader of majority failures in Kiambu.
Kama Nyora akulipe milioni 2 kwa mwezi, anakosea sana watu wa Kiambu. Anakosea executive.
I did not talk about the executive. I don't want to talk about the executive until I have time to interrogate that document. What I have said is that the County Assembly of Kiambu cannot stand to tell us about corruption. As the citizens of Kiambu interrogate how the executive has spent money, because I will tell you, it will be very ill of us to start talking about a management report. A management report is not the Auditor General's report. We are expecting that the Auditor General will also have his findings so that we can compare the two. And if indeed the executive has eaten money of Kiambu, we shall call them out. We shall call them.
Haya, naangalia comments hapa. Meanwhile, producer atatengeneza video of the day. Alex Ogura sama happy new year. Some merchandise iko happy this year. Sasa tunatengeneza merchandise ya THETACKLE. Kenny Robertson sama Gerald, don't forget today they will steal 2 billion before end of business. Sijui sasa hizo mafikisha ngapi? Abbas Diguna anasema mweupe kama pamba has realized that she is nowhere near deputizing kitendawili simply because the BBI ship is sinking. Wananchi have opened their eyes and no amount of campaigns or money would help to save the document. She now wants to fight for a political future. It's quite interesting that now at this age and era, it's being on the right side by being away from government. For the first time in history of this country, being outside government or being against the government is a capital, is a political capital in the ground. Gilino Boy says, Abini Gerald Bitok, upper states, we have already kicked Trump out office today, but it was 4 years of hell. Kenyans are watching. That is Alex Ogero. Asama, I missed THETACKLE. Welcome back, guys. Mushendu, happy new year. Happy new year to you, Alex Ogero. Sana mwema Steve Mwema, Governor Mushendu, anatetea Governor Nyoro. Anatuambia wapi, unajua nimeona ni competition of morality. Amesema it's okay question, but you don't have the moral authority. So it means the Kiambu is completely rotten. Is now saying which one is the better devil.
I tell the Kiambu residents, we made our bed, we must lie on it.
We complete the journey with Daktari Nyoro, firstborn of BBI. Producer, video of the day.
Folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because I'm going to take you on a wild ride tonight with the hard questions. Did I hear correctly? 2 billion shillings of mine and your tax money mysteriously disappears each and every day? Question to UK, what are you doing about it? Second question, what do you want us to do about it if you aren't doing anything? Do you know what 2 billion shillings can do for the Kenyan people each and every day? The Kenya police need decent housing and a pay rise. Yes, that can be sorted. Do you know what else? The nurses and the doctors can be well taken care of. Do you know what else? Our teachers who have nurtured us since childhood can get a decent pay and live a fantastic life. Do you know what else 2 billion can do? It can get the children of Kenya laptops and decent classrooms. Do you know what else? I can go on and on and on. We can create industries and create employment, but no. No, 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 no. You know, folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because I'm going to take you on a wild ride tonight with the hard questions. Did I hear correctly? 2 billion shillings of mine and your tax money mysteriously disappears each and every day. Question to UK, what are you doing about it? Second question, what do you want us to do about it if you aren't doing anything? Do you know what 2 billion shillings can do for the Kenyan people each and every day? The Kenya police need decent housing and a pay rise. Yes, that can be sorted. Do you know what else? The nurses and the doctors can be well taken care of. Do you know what else? Our teachers who have nurtured us since childhood can get a decent pay and live a fantastic life. Do you know what else 2 billion can do? It can get the children of Kenya laptops and decent classrooms. Do you know what else? I can go on and on and on. We can create industries and create employment, but no. No, 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 no. You know what is being pushed? A document that will magically transform Kenya from what it is today into a Singapore or a Korea. Your handshake buddy goes around blaming your former partner for things you haven't done. Do we look like fools? I'm not a fool. No one is a fool. We're tired of being taken for a ride. Are you tired? Somebody say, I'm tired. We're not taking this anymore. Somebody needs to be accountable, and you know who is going to be accountable.
And these are the questions that people ask. Even in India, I saw the other day they were saying, okay, you guys are telling us that it's not safe for us to come out and do the business that we do. The Bahawanas entertainment industry is collapsing. Businesses are collapsing. But politicians are thriving every day. They're doing business. And you see, we're closing up these guys because of coronavirus. And, you know, these guys are coming out to also speak in their own way and ask, you know, all right, you guys, we have all these problems we're talking about. Let's talk about the 2 billion, for instance. The president comes out and admits that actually the government loses 2 billion every day. A week ago, he was telling us that I'm in control of this government and I know what I'm doing. A week later, 2 billion is lost every single day. As we speak, what time is it? I think it's 9, 10. So I think lost, around 200 million. 200
million has already gone.
200 million? 200 million
and this is according to the president himself of the Republic of Kenya.
Antony, how does that make you feel? First of all, the president is retreating to his native ground, talking about addressing Kenyans on the state of the nation.
Yes.
They retreats to vernacular stations and speak to the nation. Secondly, comes out to admit that 2 billion is lost every single day. How does that make you feel as a businessman and as a Kenyan?
As JKL was saying, 2 billion, what can he do? But there's a question that he kept on asking. I think he repeated it 3 or 4 times. We can create industries. We can create employment. I think we need to look at that. But before I get to that, I'll just say it is shameful. He has the instruments of power at his beck and call. Therefore, it is very easy for him to, my assumption is it's easy for him to brain in whatever problem it is. Whatever this money is leaking, whatever it's been stolen at the end of the day, there is a trail. Follow the money trail. Wherever the money ends up, jail those people. 30 years, no option or fine. Kazi meisha, mapema. Then now we can discuss other issues about creating employment. I've seen somebody has sent me a message here that you mentioned about creating employment, lakini hukumaliza. Nimalize.
Endelea employment.
Very good. Let me give an analogy. There are two villages. Village moja tutaita village Wajanja. The other village will baptize it baadaye. So for right now, we'll just call it village X. In village X, they have a lot of good soil, fertile soil, good rivers, and they grow a lot of food. Very, very fertile. Now, village Wajanja, their soil is what you'll call Nduvia. There's nothing that can grow on that particular village. So what do the inhabitants of village Wajanja do? They go to village X and then they buy the uncooked potatoes, the uncooked rice, raw meat. They take it to their village Wajanja. Then they cook the food and then they take it back to village X. Now, when they are going to buy, they'll buy, let's say, a ton of food, mixed food, let's say, for about 5,000 shillings. They go and they cook it, they bring it back, and then they sell it for 1,000,000 shillings. And the guys in village X are very happy about that. Let me ask you, hapo, nani mjinga nani mjanja? Village X.
Wajinga sana.
Wajinga sana, eh?
Yes.
Now, let's put it in a different context. There's a country called Kenya, and there's a country called Japan. Do you know in Kenya, we have a lot of iron ore? I remember some time back, the Laikipia County said that the iron ore, they did a bit of a feasibility study. The iron ore they found in Laikipia is enough for commercial mining. We have iron ore in Funyula. We have iron ore in Taita. I think Zit Kishasha mines, they export 7,500 tons of iron ore every single month. There's iron ore in Embu. Now, we export this iron ore. And here we get about 5,000 shillings per ton. So that means in every 2 tons, we'll get 10,000 shillings. Now, 2 tons of iron ore, you require 1.5 tons of iron ore to get 1 ton of steel. So 2 tons of iron ore will give you about what? 1.3, 1.4 tons of steel. So now we export iron ore at 10,000 shillings for 2 tons. Some people in Japan will import that iron ore. They will convert it into steel, and then they've bought it from us at 10,000 shillings, the 2 tons. They convert it to steel, and then they'll make a Toyota RAV4 car, which, when it comes back here, that Toyota RAV4, we buy it at 5.5 million. So, basically, I am giving you, or we give them our raw material in form of iron ore at 10,000 shillings for 2 tons. They go, they work on it, add value, bring it back to us in the form of a RAV4, which weighs about 1.2 tons, at 5.5 million. Nani mjanja, nani mjinga hapo? Haya. Now, let's look at it this way. In 2019, the GDP per capita, for our viewers, per capita means all the money that, GDP per capita means all the money that is in the country, that the country made in a specific year, if it was divided by the total population, what will each person get? So in 2019, the GDP for Japan was $40,247. Now in Kenya, we are paid on a monthly basis. If you convert that money by the current exchange rate, I think it's around 110 shillings, yes, then divide by 12 months, it means every person in Japan got 369,000. So on average, the lifestyle is worth 369,000. And remember, Japan is one of the countries with 0 natural resources. Yes. If you Google the 10 countries with 0 natural resources, Japan features there. Yes. Kenya has a lot of natural resources. Now, Kenya, with all our natural resources, our GDP per capita 2019 was 1,817. Multiply that by 110, divide by 12, we are living a lifestyle, everybody in Kenya would have gotten about 17,000 shillings. So now, remember those people in Village X? They have a lot of resources.
Yes.
Kenya has a lot of resources, but our lifestyle is worth 17,000 shillings. Another country that has 0 resources, they import from us, they add value, meaning they're creating employment for their own nationals, for their own citizens. Whenever they finish making, they export it back to us in a different form. We buy from them at 5.5 million. Their lifestyle is a lifestyle worth 369,000 per month. Wacha nikuulize, someone who lives maisha ya 17,000 na mtu anaishi 369,000, are you in the same category?
No, you're not.
We are not in the same category. And now we keep on complaining that hakuna kazi. hakuna kazi. I believe that is not true. Opportunities for work ziko. Ile kitu tumekosa ni kufikiria vizuri. Hatufikiri vizuri. There is lack of proper thinking. That's where the problem is. Bwana Bitok, you said I don't like politics. That's not really accurate. I do love politics. I enjoy politics. But then now, we need to look at it this way. Why is it us as a country, we are suffering that way? Why is it that we have so many resources, yet we are living maisha ya 17,000 when other people with no resources wanaishi maisha ya 369,000? I will say this. This is one of the political aspect comes in. Every 5 years, lazima tuchague watu. But then, when it comes to voting, we normally vote for the people who will either give us 50 shillings, sijui ni reflector. You know, they want to give us campaign goodies. But we don't interrogate, especially kama for the National Assembly. One of the things, I was lucky I met those guys of BBI some time back, and I tried to propose, they should change the name from August House to House of Ideas. So that mtu mashinani akisikia imebadilishwa from August House ama National Assembly ama Parliament to House of Ideas, what does that mean? Chagua mtu kwa mashinani who has ideas, ikifika bunge, it will improve your quality of life. But now us, we vote people who spend, actually, it's like a catch-22 situation. Or let's say we fried our own goose. Yeah? Because as voters, we demand to be bribed. That is corruption. So somebody has to bribe us. Atupatie 50 bob, atupatie 100, anunue reflector, sijui shuka, unga. Ule atatupatia mingi, ndio tunachagua. Huyo mtu tukishamchagua kisha ingia bunge, akona loan. He spent 50 million, whatever it is, 10 million, whatever it is. So his first priority ni kurudisha hiyo pesa. So where does Wanjiko come in? What we need to do as Kenyans is tuangalie how is the state of our life right now. It is not desirable because we're living maisha 17,000. Now, there's a saying, it is only, what is it? Is it only a fool or an idiot who does something the same way and expects different results? So, come 2022, I would urge fellow Kenyans, fellow Wanjiko, tafadhali hii wakati ingine, tusiangalie maneno ile pesa tunapewa, the campaign goodies. Tuangalie people with ideas that can change our country. So that, like, for instance, if it was in Parliament, one of the things I would say is no natural resource should ever be exported from our country in its raw form. So kama ni hiyo chuma,
tushage kwanza.
Kwanza tuipeleke hapa Juja, tuna viwanja mingi sana. Tuanze kutengeneza vitu rahisi, vijiko, masufuria. And then hata kama ni mpaka wheelbarrows made in Kenya. And then also because kuna watu kama wana MUCHENDU, he did electrical engineering. Also did electrical engineering. Let's look at the national issue. I mean, global. Europe, or rather Britain, have said, come 2030, they no longer use vehicles that use either petrol or diesel. They'll only use electrical cars. Situanze kutengeneza basi hizo magari huku Kenya. Let's get whatever technology. That is going to change our country kabisa. Lakini tukiendelea hii politics ati sikupewa na sijui nataka shuka, sijui nataka leso, nataka reflector, nataka 50 bob, alafu chagula mtu ananipatia ile mingi, alafu sitamwona tena until after 5 years, tutaendelea kuishi maisha ya 17,000. But if we vote wisely, we think in terms of policies, hizo ndio zile zitabadilisha maisha yetu. And it will take less than 10 years for Kenya to become the new China.
All right. MUCHENDU, your brief comments. I see naona tuko na dakika 10. Your brief comments on the song and the video of the day.
I would say that it is very sad that the President of the Republic will come to a vernacular stations, to be precise 7 vernacular stations, and confirm that under his watch 2 billion shillings zinaenda kila siku. It is 920, sasa labda tumefika 250.
Imesonga kidogo, nimeona imefika 203.
Kitu kama hiyo, something of the sort. And we are continue reminding our viewers, this is in accordance to the President of the Republic of Kenya. I would say that that was rather unfortunate for him to make that comment. It's like that donkey attitude that I cannot do anything as a president. Then when you confirm that 2 billion shillings are being lost every day, in your government and you cannot do a thing about it, are you telling us that you have terribly failed as the head of government and as the head of state? That's my opinion. If you look at that video, that guy has quite stated a number of things that Kenya shillings, 2 billion shillings can do. I will tell you this, 2 billion shillings can pay the salaries of Kiambu County for 4 years. The salaries can land government, Kiambu County government for 4 years. 2 billion shillings. 2 billion shillings, if given, it can complete all the 7 hospitals under construction in Kiambu County. 2 billion, if given, we can grade at if you're grading every kilometer at a cost of 600,000. You can imagine how many kilometers we can grade and gravel in Kiambu County. 2 billion shillings is a lot of money. It is. Let me tell you, in essence, of what a billion shillings is. Today, Bitok, if I give you 1 billion shillings, na tukubaliane, you will be spending 100,000
per day.
Per day. Na ukishindwa kumaliza unapeana. You will consume 1 billion shillings for 28 years.
At 100,000 per day.
At 100,000 shillings per day, you will consume it.
Kukula mia kila siku.
100,000 kila siku. Utakuwa ukikula hiyo miaka yote. That is why unasikia mtu ni bilionea na bado anaimba Kenya. There is a spirit in the Bible that it is gluttonous. Is it, what do you call it? There are people in this republic with a spirit of being gluttonous.
Great.
Yes, they have a lot. They have enough, but they still want more. They have more than enough. They still want. That is the truth of that billion. Today, an average Kenyan will spend, akitumia pesa nyingi sana, will spend, Bitokia will spend, ametumia pesa nyingi sana, on average, he would spend 3,000 shillings a day. Amefuel 1,000, amekunywa kahawa ya Java, amekula lunch hapa Radisson Brew, na nyumbani 3,000. Now, imagine what a billion will do to change the life of a normal Kenyan out there. And the President of the Republic is standing on the peripheries of State House, addressing his community from Central Kenya, that 2 billion shillings is being lost in this republic. It's such a shame. You tell us, because my belief is this, Bitok. If you have calculated and known 2 billion shillings is being lost in a day, you as well know the channels under which that 2 billion is being lost. I cannot come and say that 2 billion got lost. Money is allocated to departments. Departments allocate EIE authority to individuals. So if 2 billion is being lost, you can as well tell us under which channels that 2 billion is going. Therefore, you become culpable. And tell us, hii pesa inabiwa na Bitok na Muchendu na my friend here. You tell us. You cannot come and rant there about. And then, there is something he has said that I have a very big problem with. It is like BBI is going to transform our economy to that of Singapore. That guy has alluded to that fact. That BBI is a magical thing. The president is standing there telling us, in our French, we have a very deliberate plan for health. For heaven's sake, you have been the president for 8.5 years. It is crazy that the implementation, the planning period is 4 times more than the implementation period, because you only have 1.5 years left. So you are telling us for 8.5 years you have been planning so that you can implement in 1.5 years. Those I see people they are calling them Uhuru Kenyatta logics. Those logics do not add up. It is like the logics of rotational presidency. When you are being sworn in, the baton was passed to you from a Kikuyu to another Kikuyu. You could not see the logics of saying that the community has served so much. Now that you have enjoyed the presidency to the full capacity, you now feel that it is now that this country has not been ruled by 2 communities. It has been ruled by a few families, masquerading as the representative of our community. Our community has not ruled. What have I gained as Muchendu simply because Akikuyu is a president? I mean, people have been oppressed. people, Nyamakima people have lost business. Kikuyu was still the president. The business of Kenyans to China has been affected. Kikuyu sitting on the presidency. So therefore, Mr. President, I thank you for doing that interview because you brought us revelation that 2 billion shillings are being lost in your government. Please ufanye hesabu. Can you divide 2 billion shillings by 24 hours? Tuone kila siku. Can you do that hesabu quickly?
Na kuna vile wanaweza tugawia kila mtu akulanga.
I want to 2 billion shillings divide by 24 hours and we will tell you up to now how much money has
83 million.
As Kirori is doing the calculation.
83 million.
83 million. So the president came to the vernacular stations and fellow Kenyans. He actually confirmed to you that every hour in Kenya, 83 million shillings
is being lost.
Is being lost.
So for
it's
that,
very sad.
From inaanzanga midnight ama asubuhi?
Inaanzanga midnight.
Inaanza midnight. So
let me tell you one time. Wacha nikwambie one time. Ujue midnight inaanzanga. You remember there was no time na Kenya was ilikuwa juu kama unaweza kumbuka. So the proponent of na Kenya then in Limuru was the former MP, the late Kuria Kanyingi. So everybody was planning to do the nomination on that particular day of nomination. And by the time they came to the ballot booth at 8 a.m., he was telling people, the day starts at midnight. We have already done the nomination with those people who showed up. the nomination was rated for 5th of February. For 5th of November. We have done it. And the person in charge of the election was at the polling station at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yes, you cannot go to the court and claim that the nomination was done. We did not give the specific time. We only gave a day.
Guys, even as we finish up, I want us to take a switch from something that Muchendu has already mentioned.